Oh man, this one is gold. This is a good example. Sometimes, falls in your lap. I love this example. I was just watching this just now and I thought this has to be replicated and repeated and pushed out. It's too pure an example.
Really? So you're saying me?
So watch how this guy comes in and talks with no logic, and this is how organic portals always argue. Isn't it funny that almost not every conversation, but so many conversations with women in heated arguments go this way? No, not all women, of course not. But especially in relationships, I think everybody can attest to that. That this is women's way. This is how they do it. And they keep the conversation rolling. And we've talked before about a real woman, and then the bitch men of the Matrix are they're not even half of a real woman. And, it's pretty interesting that you could talk like this with no basis. There's no basis to anything that this guy comes in and says, and listen to the conversation. But I just wanted to put this up as an example of how they always talk illogically. And there's absolutely no experiential basis to it. There's never any documentation citing, good referencing, nothing. And it's always just their opinion, which is horizontal, right? I've talked about this vertically spiritual and how organic portals are horizontal, the non-spiritual humans. Right, the spiritless, soulless humans, they're horizontal. 2D group soul, get it? 2D, and then topologically speaking, across a field of topology. That's what I mean by horizontal, right? Oops. Oh, don't start that. So they always speak on that level with someone else's words, with someone else's ideas of the hive mind, basically. And this is what I call horizontal. I've mentioned this a few times. So it's not what they think, it's what they talk about with their friends or something like that, or just an unconscious opinion they take on which fits with their whatever certain hate complex they have, and so on, whatever fits with their already stuffed up neurology, right? I've talked about how they do not create proper brain schemata. Anyway, super good example here of how they always speak. It's always like this, and that's why I like this channel, SJW Central, because in almost every single video this channel makes, where the SJWs are just owned every single time, it's because the SJWs are coming with no logic and just this horizontal opinion. There's nothing behind it. There's no backdrop. There's no basis, or what you call a core centrism.
Not a news organization. Owen Schroyer from Infowars.com. Not real news. All we're doing is putting a microphone in citizens' face. Oh, no, really? So you're saying me putting a microphone in people's face to talk is smearing them? No, you don't follow our channel. Come here, sir. Come here, sir. Come here. I'm offering you a chance to talk. See, you're smearing yourself.
Yeah, already he doesn't want to.
Here we go.
If you can, in some way, get a form or something to promise to not cut any of what I say, have the full...
You can go to Alex Jones' channel on YouTube and see your videos in entirety.
And organic portals, they're always escapists in the argument as soon as you do prove them wrong, because they're just there as a trivial human enhancing mayhem. That's why we call it us versus them, united souls against them, trivial humans or trifling humans enhancing mayhem. Because they'll come up with the mayhem, they'll create the argument, create the problem with no basis, and they run back into the darkness where they came, is how I always say it. That's what I always say. And look, that's what he does here. Full escapism from the argument. Look, you want to logically sort through. It's why I mentioned earlier non-misogynistically, just from experience over many, many girlfriends, that they all do the same thing. It's always an illogical argument. They always have to quickly stop the argument. And how come I'm ready to talk things through to the end, even if it takes literally 2 hours? I'll sit down and I'll talk for 2 hours until a solution is reached, no problem, because I just want to get the solution reached, which shows the opposite of how they're trivial and want to create the mayhem. I'm trying to, solve it and stop it, right? Look, it's just my opinion, you might say, but look, I find this in almost every relationship I've ever been with women, that they do this type of talking, and it's one reason I said that no, not all women are organic portals. No, it's that so many of them are acting like it, and it's always got to do with this escapism, illogic, many other things, being surface and stuff. But we're not picking on women or anything today. It's just a little side adage that I wanted to add in there, because notice it, because it happens endlessly. And I'm talking in relationships, in heated arguments, not just every day in every conversation. Anyway, but if it is always in every logical conversation, then the person is an organic portal.
He's a liar! Alex Jones is a fucking liar!
What does he lie about?
He fucking makes up shit.
Name one.
Fucking... Off the top of my head.
Yes, I love it! He's got nothing!
Hey, I mean, dude, he's...
Just...
Yep. Bare lawns, grow food, not lawns. Bare lawns reflect their bare mind.
Sorry, folks. I got so fired up, People say all this stuff about Trump. They have nothing to say, no depth. This guy says Alex Jones is a liar, just got stumped himself.
Hell.
What about Jade Hell?
He said it was a federal government takeover of Texas.
They did. They enacted many drills.
Federal government took over Texas. Is that what you're saying?
Are you saying that Jade Helm exercises didn't happen?
No, they happened.
So what's your point?
Alex Jones' entire point was that it was the federal government trying to take over Texas.
Are you familiar with geolocation and geo-tracking and geo-mapping?
That sounds like conspiracy theory garbage.
That's a government document, sir.
I don't believe that.
Okay, so you're the one that comes to this debate uneducated.
Yeah, they always come with belief, belief, but not knowing.
And ignorant.
It's not, I can pull out any bogus random term from...
No, I'm citing government documents.
It doesn't matter. You're using it. You can use it out of context. You can use it however...
No, sir. You said Alex Jones was a conspiracy theorist on Jade Helm. I cited the government document that existed and the exercise, and then you fell blank.
No, you used this out of context. I have no idea what...
Well, you brought up Jade Helm, and now how am I using it out of context?
The word geolocation, whatever...
Geospatial mapping?
Yeah, okay, what it is. Yeah, what is it?
Okay, so everyone here has a cell phone, correct? At any given time, because of the applications on your cell phone, you have signed away your rights. They can turn on your camera. They can turn on your microphone. They can turn on everything. They have Snapchat. Snapchat has facial recognition, folks. What do you think they're doing with that technology? Absolutely correct. So
Right, anyway, you could see how the dude just had to bail out instead of, making some sort of point which he clearly didn't have.